Shanquella Robinson owned a successful braiding business in Charlotte, North Carolina, but the 25-year-old's life was cut short after she went on an ill-fated trip to Cabo San Lucas with her friends. It had not even been 24 hours since the group had arrived at the villa that Robinson was found dead. While Robinson's family was coming to terms with their daughter's tragic death, a shocking video started circulating around the internet showing a woman inhumanely beating Shanquella, a naked Shanquella, in a room with her friends while they did nothing but watch and record the whole ordeal. Hey guys, my name is Tanya. Thank you for joining me for yet another upload, and welcome to my channel where we do talk all things true crime. If you appreciate today's case coverage, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel, hitting the bell icon, and commenting your thoughts below. This is an update on this case. I do have a full playlist if you'd like to check that out. Also, sharing this video really does help because not a lot of people are covering this case. The more people that we can get to hear about it, the better. So let's go ahead and get right back into it. A man that was recording the assault that night was heard saying, "At least fight back." His name is Winter Donovan. Her friends appeared to be supporting the attacker at one point as the victim, Shanquella, lay helplessly on the ground. I'm going to show you a video here shortly and you'll see you'll see it. Meanwhile, the disturbing video caused an uproar on the internet, with many people demanding justice for the dead Shanquella. The woman who repeatedly beat Shanquella was later identified as her friend, and I'm using that word very loosely, Dejanay Jackson. The 6 friends who accompanied her on that trip also allegedly went ahead and they removed their social media profiles from the internet. I think I did do a video though, and I had Winter stating things on TikTok, I believe. The friends that she went on this trip with stated that she had alcohol poisoning to her parents, but after they received Shanquella's autopsy report, it said that her neck had been broken and she had back spasms. There was a crack and a spinal cord crack. That's a little different than alcohol poisoning. The FBI is currently investigating Shanquella's death. Police initially reported cardiopulmonary arrest as the cause of her death, but it changed after the autopsy report reported her death due to spinal cord injury. Officials are collecting information from doctors and authorities while they are also interrogating Dejanay Jackson, who appeared to have violently assault Shanquella before her death, and the man who recorded the incident. And I believe it's Winter Jackson. Let me go ahead and give you a picture of, let me get a picture of Dejanay up there so you can see what she looks like. This is going to be the female that was assaulting Miss Robinson that evening. So no charges or arrests right now have been made. The motive behind the ruthless murders remains unknown. We still don't know. November 25th, 2022, arrest warrant was finally issued in Shanquella's death. The state attorney general's office of Baja, I think that's what you call it, or Baja, California, sir, issued an arrest warrant for femicide in connection with Robinson's death. Femicide is the equivalent of homicide in the United States because this took place in Mexico. Mexican authorities said extradition procedures were started in the case. Bernard Robinson, who is Shanquella's father, asked Mexican authorities to charge all 6 people that she traveled to Mexico with, saying they were all responsible for her death, which I agree. Robinson said the hardest part was knowing there was nothing he could do to protect his daughter in her final moments. I do have an interview that he did with, I believe, TMZ, and it's heartbreaking, and it's on my channel playlist. She was so full of life, he said. I just want to know why. So then January 17th, 2023, Mexican prosecutors began the investigation. So they really started investigating her death. I'm going to go ahead and put her picture back up instead of Shanquella's because she's way more beautiful, and I just want to look at her because she's beautiful. Prosecutors said that they were aiming to extradite a suspect to the country. Daniel de la Rosa Ana, he has the longest name on earth. Let's try this again. Daniel de la Rosa Ana, the state's attorney general, said authorities were focused on locating the suspect. So they're focused on locating Dejanay Jackson. He said that they were working with Interpol to put out a red notice, which is a global advisory to be on the lookout, for a suspect. Now the family is rallying together with legislators, and they are taking this to the White House. They want the president. They want President Biden to help them with the extradition process. I'm going to show you the newest update that's come out. Let me know your thoughts below. Let me know your comments, your thoughts. I'm going to, do you think that President Biden's going to step in and help her? I don't want to make this political or anything like that, so let's not do that. But do you think, as a human being that's in charge of this whole country, do you think that maybe he could step in and do something? This girl really deserves justice. I hope that somebody steps in that can help her. I do have a playlist for more details, like I said, if you want to watch that, if you're interested. It's there to watch. Also, let me go ahead and get this up here for you. This is going to be from, this actually just came out today. I was going to show you something different, but this came out better. Like, that was a little bit newer. So I want to show you guys this instead. It is Jesse Weber from Law and Crime Network. So we'll go ahead and play this, and I'll talk to you guys when we're done.
In the death of Shanquella Robinson, the 25-year-old severely beaten apparently by a friend while on a group trip in Mexico. Her mother is now calling on President Joe Biden to bring her killer to justice. A letter signed by civil rights attorneys Ben Crump and Sue Ann Robinson identified the woman who killed Shanquella Robinson as 26-year-old Dejanae Jackson. Attached in the letter are statements from resort personnel at Cabo Villas provided to Mexican prosecutors. Now, according to one statement, a customer service assistant at the resort recognized Jackson in a viral video showing Robinson's assault in a hotel room. The assistant apparently worked closely with Jackson during the group's entire stay, as Jackson appears to have booked and organized the trip. After Robinson died, the assistant described most of the group as relaxed and calm. The assistant claims that Jackson also gave a, quote, very indifferent, very cold hug. After leaving the area, the assistant said that they heard laughter. It's kind of chilling stuff to hear. But what's also important from the attached statements is an established timeline of events. And here's what we put together. So a statement from an administrator said that the group booked the villa from October 28th to the 31st. According to the customer service assistant, the group had dinner on the night that they arrived. The assistant said that at that dinner, Robinson appeared isolated and out of place. The administrator said that a fight took place between 7 and 8:30 a.m. the next day on October 29th. They figured out the time from the viral video due to the location of the sun rays on a headboard. Then around 1:50 p.m. that same day, Jackson apparently messaged the assistant asking for the nearest medical service. Now remember, Robinson would be declared dead roughly 4 hours later. That same night, between 9 and 9:30 p.m., Jackson asked the assistant for a ride to a restaurant. The group told the driver to drop them off at a hotel near the airport, and they never returned to the villa. Robinson's family believes that Jackson is most likely in the United States, and they're calling on the White House to either prosecute her here or extradite her back to Mexico. So, Terry, the family's letter states that federal murder charges could be brought in this case. What's the rationale for that?
You know, you can sue in federal court for criminal if, in fact, there is a criminal law under federal law, or if there's a constitutional issue. And here, what the attorneys are trying to say is this was international, so that gets you in federal court. And also, they're trying to say that there was international commerce in the fact that the phone went from one place to the other place, and there's evidence there. So they're trying to get the case back to the United States. They're trying to get the case in federal court, if at all possible. And under the U.S. Code, murder is definitely a statute where you can bring charges against someone if it has those other elements involved. And if, in fact, they decide to extradite everyone and have the case here, they could very well go to federal court and be charged with murder.
Brian, Mexican prosecutors, they released these statements, including the suspect's name, a timeline of the case. So what is the next step in this process?
Well, Jesse, basically the ball is in the Mexican authorities' court, so to speak, because what I'm listening to and what I'm hearing is what's called probable cause. It seems like they've connected all of the dots for the U.S. to say, hey, are we going to go forward or not? So either we're going to hear nothing from Joe Biden and from other federal authorities, or we're going to hear that a federal warrant for this person's arrest is going to be issued, and then we start to have the discussion as to whether or not they'll be prosecuted in the U.S. or be extradited to Mexico. But the next possible step is there going to be a warrant? And right now, I don't see why there wouldn't be. Whether or not they're going to prosecute abroad or here, but we need to figure out whether or not there's going to be a warrant and whether or not this case is going to move forward, because it seems like there's probable cause enough to go forward here.
I agree, and some really chilling details, as I mentioned. And welcome back to Law and Crime Daily, everybody. We want to talk to you right now about an interesting case that we're following as the drama really starts to ramp up.
Okay, I was the end of that video. I thought that was going to be a little bit longer, and it didn't actually show the fight, which, I mean, I was kind of grateful for that. But I do actually want to show you the other clip, so just stick with me. I thought that'd be a little bit longer for you guys. There we go. Okay. Oh, let me share this with you guys. This is going to be Kumo.
A homicide case that has made its way to the desk of our president.
And before this gets started, I do want to just reiterate how important it is. I believe this is the video because I watched this earlier. They will show the video of Shanquella being beat in this video. So if you guys need to turn off right now, I understand, but because it is very graphic. It's a girl being beaten, I mean, while she's naked, and there's a guy recording it, people watching it, not doing anything. So I just want to give you guys a warning for that.
25-year-old Shanquella Robinson, who in October went on a trip to Cabo, Mexico with 6 of her friends, never came home alive. Her friends said she died due to alcohol poisoning, but her death certificate said she died from a severe spinal cord and blunt force neck injury. Days later, a disturbing video came out showing one of the friends, in quotes, beating Shanquella in the hotel room. Take a look for yourself.
Okay.
Quilla, can you at least fight back?
No. What's your problem?
At least something. At least fight back, something.
Get up, bro. Get up.
You know, as disturbing as this scene is, the guy videoing it with his phone, I think may be the most disgusting. I don't know what's happening in the rest, but obviously Shanquella isn't drinking herself to death, and this is supposed to be her friend, this jackass guy behaving like that. 5 months later, no one's been arrested, and the family has taken its case to the White House. That guy and the other ones are back to living their normal life. Joining me now is national civil rights activist John C. Barnett, who has been helping the family, and retired FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer, who's been following this case from the start. Jen, it's great to see you. Look, the obvious problem here is that it's not in the United States, okay? We don't do things perfectly here, but clearly this is not an alcohol poisoning based on what we just saw, unless there's some chain of events after this where it was alcohol poisoning. Do we know where the video is in proximity to when we believe Shanquella died?
Yeah, the video is basically contemporaneous from the standpoint it is very soon after that that officials are called and that she's rendered unconscious and actually, of course, dies from these wounds.
I mean, this is obviously a homicide, right?
It's a homicide. I would call it for sure a manslaughter would be the charges I'd be looking at as an FBI agent here. We don't know whether really the intent or purpose was to kill her, but certainly the intent and purpose was to beat her.
Well, right. I mean, look, homicide just means death by person. Could be manslaughter, could be intentional, could be the whole range. Now, the Mexico component, before I bring John into the conversation, what is the suspicion here that, you know, they're not known for their quick and thorough criminal investigations of their own citizens, let alone foreign ones?
Well, the good news here is she's actually been charged, and it happened fairly quickly. The issue is not the charge. The issue is the extradition. How can she be now extradited back to Mexico to face these charges? This is something that the United States really does not like to do. It takes working with the State Department to have this happen, and we want our citizens tried and charged here. And that's why we have crimes that we can charge under 18 U.S.C. in this example 1112, which would be the manslaughter charge federally. And we have accessory and aiding and abetting charges so that our citizens are actually charged here with such crimes, even though they're committed abroad.
All right, so that's the investigative side of this. The humane side of this, John, is tell the audience why you've been organizing around this with others to get justice for Shanquella.
Yeah, 138, and thank you for having us on your show, Chris. 138 days ago, this young lady was killed on film. There's a lot of killings that happen across the country, and they're not on film. For 3 months, she was trending, and then it stopped. And my good friend, a co-organizer of mine, Mario Black, said, you know, John, I got a message that said she's not trending anymore. And so I said, hey, let's send some pink envelopes to President Biden's office, and let's send some to Mexico. And then that sparked a movement of Attorney Benjamin Crump getting on board last week in Washington, D.C. My sister, Tamika Mallory, and other activists and attorneys
What are pink?
got on board.
Why pink envelopes?
Because I learned from a wise activist that you need to be loud and dramatic. And the loudest thing that I could send to the White House would be pink envelopes. It was just being dramatic. I met my mentor, Al Sharpton, by writing him in jail, and I put his picture on the back, and I sent 3 envelopes, symbolic to my brother being shot 3 times. So I just thought the pink would spark their attention. And we sent the letters also, Chris, to Mexico.
So
it worked.
Let's get straight here.
And
what
shockingly,
we're looking for.
it worked a week later. We looking for justice.
See.
We looking for these individuals.
Yeah, let's go. Lay it out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was going to say we need these individuals locked up and arrested. And Attorney Sue Ann Robinson went to Mexico and built a rapport with the authorities over there. And they said, you know what? In so many words, hypothetically speaking, Chris, they said, y'all can have the case back. So now it's back. They're trying to give it back to America. So it's been a toss-up back and forth. At first it was on Mexican soil, and we couldn't do anything because it's on Mexican soil. So it's been sitting dormant for 5 months, over 5 months. And now Mexico has given us some kind of power to say, hey, give it back to the president, give it back to the Justice Department. And that's where we are now.
Jennifer
so hopefully we
Coffindaffer.
can be able to get some justice.
Absolutely. I mean, look, what your efforts have worked, because here we are on News Nation discussing this and the need for the administration of justice. The concierge spoke to police from the villa in Mexico. His statement is part of the letter that was sent to the White House. He interacted the most with the group. What is the significance of his testimony, potential testimony?
Well, it's significant because he describes a scene with an individual who really isn't a part of the group, so to speak. She's not enjoying the situation. She's not being treated the same as the others. She's not interacting. This is supposed to be a big celebration and getaway at a mansion villa in Cabo, yet that is not the situation he observed. And I think it's very important to show the relationship between the attackers and her early on.
I also think, John, I could be wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. But I want to hear from you what the theory of people who know Shanquella believe happened down there. But I'm also a little suspicious that the Secretary of State, his office, the president, they're a little shy on Mexico right now. They're getting beat up at the border. It's a nightmare political issue for the administration. They got the cartels, that are just destroying us with fentanyl. And they're a little shy on Mexico right now. They haven't been very muscular with that president or with state-to-state relations. So you're dealing with that. But what do you believe? What's the theory of why Shanquella was killed?
Jealousy. She probably, if not, was the #1 hairstylist. I think that what I've been hearing is that she paid for the trip for some of her friends. So what you're looking at is like a Jesus and Judas situation. Some jealous friends. She paid for the majority of the trip, from my understanding. She booked the villa, and she wanted her 6 friends to go and celebrate with her. And so it just ended up very tragically. So it was just the extreme jealousy. I mean, look at the rage in the young lady that's fighting her. Something built that up for her to fight her and beat her like that. And to break her, her neck and spine is just it's horrific. And then for it to be on film. And mind you, my visual of it is that it's early in the morning and she's in the bed and she's naked, Chris. They blurred out those videos. She's naked in the bed. I can imagine this lady going over to her, waking up out of bed and said, "Let's fight. I'm tired of you. I'm sick of you." And so that alone, just seeing it on film is it's horrific. And America needs to step up, because I told one of your staff members earlier today, I want President Joe Biden, if he can hear me today, I'm talking to you in this camera, I want Shanquella to be considered as your daughter. And what would you do if your daughter was beat on film like this. And she didn't fight back. That's why I use the Jesus and Judas concept, Chris, because Jesus didn't fight back. And so I'm asking that President Joe Biden take time out of your schedule. He met with my friends a couple weeks ago to watch the Emmett Till movie in the White House. And then to put insult to injury real quick, Chris, I want to tell you, last week I met with a father whose son was killed in Mexico. I went to Lake City, South Carolina, and I'm giving him access to an attorney. So we got 3 Afro-Americans that's been killed in Mexico in less than 6 months. So I've been screaming Black Lives Matter for the last 17 years of my life. Now I'm screaming Black Lives Matter in Mexico, and it needs to end today.
Sorry, guys. That was really heartbreaking to hear. I watched that earlier, but I don't know, just listening to it again with you guys, it was just, it's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Let me see, I did write down a couple things because I was wondering. Jennifer Coffendorfer said that, manslaughter. No, I don't consider this manslaughter. I say murder. Murder 1. She walks away from her at one point and then comes back. She had every thought, she had every time to think when she walked to stop and say that this is wrong. And she came back and she didn't stop. I just feel like that's just insane to me. This girl needs everybody that can listen to this story, push it forward. This happened 5 months ago, and they're just now going to maybe let the U.S. have this case back, which I didn't realize that that's what they were doing. I thought they were just trying to extradite Dejanay this whole time. So I guess they're trying to say, oh, nope, you guys can have it. I'm sure that the U.S. could have it. We'll keep it. And I'm sure that she can maybe get the prosecution that she needs and the justice that she needs. And it's been too long. So with that being said, this is the end of the video. If you did appreciate today's case coverage, I hope you'll consider subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting, all those things. It does help get the video out there, and it's all free to do. I appreciate you guys so much. You have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.